You're listening to the 12 labors of a cyber startup, part of the B-Cyber 2026 initiative under track 2, the United Shield. My name is Gontie and I have teamed up with Mustapha Annouh, CEO and co-founder of Shield AI, and Lars Veelaert, CEO of XFA. We continue with labor 3, the first build, as we will talk about discipline in building an MVP, a minimum viable product, balancing speed and perfection, and managing cybersecurity risks without delaying launch. This is going to be very interesting. Mustapha, when we talk about an MVP, we don't mean a complete product. Obviously, we mean the smallest thing that you can build, and that proves that your product could work out there in the real world. After 1 year, you had a serious MVP. How did you decide what to build first?
The first idea, it's on paper, and you may design flows, diagrams, and so on. It took actually three development companies to get to something that looks like an MVP. And I'm talking about 3 years ago. Then I had my CTO and the co-founder, and he had completely changed the way we thought about the core of the technology. As I said, we are using AI to protect against AI, so we needed some kind of very robust AI fully under our control in order to prove our sovereignty. But when we had our first MVP, that was a lot of suffering to get there. But we could present it on events and potential customers to get the first feedback. So it was very important. The MVP, as we knew it, doesn't exist anymore. It's actually what AI you want to build on. Lovable gives you not only the front end, but also the back end. It's amazing.
It's out there to grab and accessible for everyone. Lars, at the side of XFA, how did that work at the start with the MVP?
Well, both me and my founder are quite technical, and I think it was my first time in US ever, and I found it really funny because we didn't go to see. I think we went to see one monument or one thing. We just the whole week we spent on his apartment coding, and that's fun. I think doing a startup, trying new things is fun, and I think using that passion and that first drive is very essential to get to a first MVP. We had something at the end of the day or end of the week actually that gave the idea of it's possible, and I think that's enough. From that point, you have to really, same as Mustapha hinted at, find a way to continually improve it, and especially if you're making a security product, you have to make sure that it's quite controlled, that it's under control, that it has the right tests.
I can imagine that the MVP wasn't perfect at the beginning. Were you happy with the quality?
Not at all. It was absolutely not what I was expecting. You think that your car will fly. Actually, it's barely moving. But the first MVP, if I look at it today, I would say I will never invest on that company. So there is a kind of thinking that you have to accept that your product is probably never going to be 100% what you were thinking about. But that's fine. As long as we answer a need, this is the most important.
And then especially in your areas, all things cybersecurity and AI, I can imagine that there's not a lot of margin to make mistakes. How did you approach that?
It's all a bit in the design, how you develop, how you make, how you bring a product out there. You kind of engineer that everybody can make mistakes at each level. And then just because the speed of the full system is really what gets you there as a startup. And I think I often say to people just joining, if you can make a mistake on your first day that would bring catastrophic failures to the company, then it's my mistake because we architected that way. And I think approaching a cybersecurity company as a cybersecurity problem really helps, and the defense in that problem really helps us in that also in our development, that we can still do things quite rapidly, but also are quite sure that it's safe and stable.
Any funny moments or anecdotes within this particular stage of the journey?
This moment remains even today. Even after having a project that makes sense, that works, that you are proposing to customers, there is, as Lars mentioned, there is always that thought, I hope I have not missed something important. I hope that the development is good. I hope that the customer will not bring some kind of catastrophe, but acceptance of those situations is key. And the fact how you react when there is something discovered. To emphasize also this concept, mythos from Anthropic.
Yeah.
For us, it's in the same time the best thing ever and the worst thing ever, because the best thing, it could help you to find the vulnerabilities and weaknesses of what you developed. It's amazing. An AI that looks what you have done and tells you here and there you have to change it, there is a problem. But if you give that capability to someone that is not an ally, he can completely destroy what you build up and create a bad reputation. And this is really, this is where we have to think how we can make our product secure and safe.
Very disruptive times. Lars, to finish up this chapter, let's take you. Can you take us back to the moment where you had your first testing on a live audience, so to speak? Your MVP goes live. What was that moment like? Is it like getting your driver's license, falling in love for the first time? Is it one of those key moments in life?
It definitely was. I think the real first time we ever worked with a customer and deployed it, it was very manual, right? We were there every step of the way, and because we launched it quite early, we still had to help people a bit, give them instructions. But one of the really interesting things is I think the third or fourth customer was immediately global. So they were based in Singapore and they had people in China, and they were immediately deploying it over the full organization. So that meant that something that we built and was in its first stages was suddenly being deployed all over the world, and actually that got us in trouble with Microsoft because it would be flagged as a bot spynet and those kind of things, or we would be called we have a support on our website that would just ping all the developers, and then it would immediately at 3 p.m. questions would come in, and I would wake up and then answer them. It's really fun. It's really exciting. At the moment, it was like, how will we survive this? But it's really cool. Seeing something in action is really, really nice.
This is a great. I have these behind-the-scenes feelings. I'm very grateful. Thank you, Lars and Mustapha, for joining me here today. This wraps up Labor 3, the first build, the MVP, without trying to build the universe. Stay tuned for Labor 4, First Believers, Trust Before Reputation. Thank you for listening.